Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Maurice Carney. I'm one of the co-founders of Friends of the Congo, and I also serve as the organization's executive director. We have a very special session today with our colleague and journalist, Akilimali Chomachoma. He's a journalist in the east of the Congo, specifically in Goma. And there's been a lot of activities taking place, escalation of the conflict in the east of the country, particularly from the Rwanda-backed M23 militia. And Akilimali is going to share with us what has been unfolding from the front line, from Goma and the surrounding region. And so if we have Akilimali on board, says he's not able to open his mic. So once his mic is functional, we'll have him join us. Let us know, Akilimali, once your mic is up and working. Just a few updates on the international level. Outside of the Congo, the U.S. ambassador to the Democratic Republic of Congo issued a statement via Twitter yesterday, stating that basically the United States has called on Rwanda to cease the Rwandan government to cease its support of the M23, and then she went on to elucidate or to elaborate on the type of support that the United States government has given to the Congolese people through humanitarian aid. Part of the reason we saw this response from the U.S. ambassador is that there's been a lot of pressure being put on the U.S. government from Kinshasa itself by activists who are saying that the United States could do more to pressure its ally, Rwanda, because it's evident and it's clear, and the United States acknowledges that Rwanda is sponsoring and supporting the M23, but there's been no sanctions brought to bear, no accountability brought to bear on the Rwandan government, which is interesting because when this same or a similar situation took place in 2012 under President Obama. President Obama had made a direct call to President Kagame and basically told him, you need to back off of the Congo. In addition to that, President Obama had withheld $200,000 in military aid. Of course, that's nothing. But what that did was, with the United States withholding $200,000, it sent a signal to other nations, the UK and Sweden, Netherlands, Germany. They all began withholding aid from the Rwandan government to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. And what that did was to send a strong signal to Paul Kagame and Rwanda that his support of the destabilizing of Eastern Congo was no longer tenable. But here we are more than 10 years later, and we're in the same scenario. And this time, we see that the United States hasn't taken any strong action. The European Union just gave this in 2023, gave Rwanda, I think, some 20+ million euros to support the Rwandan government operations in Mozambique. So we see that President Kagame is not being held to account for the role that he's playing in destabilizing Eastern Congo. And that's been a major part of this 25-year war of aggression and plunder against the Congolese people, in that there hasn't been any accountability, not for the architects of the conflict, the major players, the Museveni's and the Kagame. There hasn't been any justice delivered to the Congolese people, and impunity has been allowed to pervade the region. So those three structural factors has contributed to the continuation of this conflict. And we have Akilimali on, who's going to give us a view from the ground. Your audio is working fine, Akilimali?
Hello, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. We can hear you and see you.
That's great. That's great. Sorry for the delay. I were in the place, and unfortunately, few seconds before they open the music, so now I have to look a quiet place. I think that I found it finally, and
All
I can
right.
join. Sorry for the delay.
All right. No problem. You look great. I know last time we had one of your colleagues on, and he was sharing with us that the M23 would often cut the power. So sometimes you'd be on and the power would just go out and not be able to
Exactly.
continue to communicate.
Exactly.
So that's part of the challenge of being really in a conflict zone. So maybe you can start there, Akilimali. Just introduce yourself, let people know who you are, and just share with us what it's like. We hear bombs that are dropping on the city of Goma now. So just share a little bit about yourself and what things are like for the people.
Thank you so much, Brother Maurice. I'm Akilimali Chomachoma. I'm a Congolese journalist. I'm based especially in Goma. I'm specialized on issue of security, agriculture, environment, and climate change most of the time, and on politics. So right now, the situation is more complicated, and it's a kind of terrorism which is doing by the M23, because you have to know that from the last Monday, the M23 like to take the area of Sake, which is at 20 kilometers from Goma, and this is an important area because it's a last place which should be taken before coming in Goma. And when the Congolese army tried and succeed to protect Sake, and they went to Shasha, and now Shasha is under control of M23. But on the ground, they began to bomb area Sake and Goma. Sake firstly, and Goma secondly, and people here are living. They are afraid about what is the situation. They are afraid. We don't know. Probably, for example, me, I'm here. I don't know, because bomb are arriving from anywhere, and are arriving everywhere. So I can be even here, and I can see the bomb, or the bomb can attend me. And this is a kind of fire. People are living with it, and people are living also in bad condition, because all road which provide food now are closed. And we have
Mm.
also a rising of IDPs, including people from those areas, Shasha, because people from Shasha, some of them from Shasha West went to South Kivu near the lake, and others from East went to Sake, and from Sake to Goma, and many people of Sake came again in Goma. This is a situation, and people are really afraid. We don't know what will be the next step, but for sure it's a fear. It's a fear of the life. It's a fear of the future.
So thanks, Akilimali. So initially, the bombs were dropping outside of Goma and the surrounding towns, but now the bombs are reaching Goma, and you're saying that that brings on a certain psychosis and terror among the population. Can you explain why that is, taking into consideration Goma's history with the conflict going back 25 years?
The problem is that Goma is the main city of the East, is a political main city and diplomatic main city. It's also a main city, sorry, and it's also a humanitarian capital of DRC, because many NGOs are more in Goma than Kinshasa. Goma is an important town for everyone who wants to have the government to change its view about the conflict and about all the problem. And now M23 tried to took Goma. First of all, if I can explain the conflict, is that we have a rebellion group which is M23, which is coming from CNDP. The CNDP is coming from RCD. The RCD is coming from IFDL, and all these movements are created for economic power, and to get hands of political and military issue, to get access to, for getting access for economic resources. First of all, natural resources from Congo, and this is a conflict from around than 30 years right now, and people are dying, not in Goma only, but in North Kivu, in South Kivu, and in Ituri most of the time. And this is one of the difficult things people are living it, and this is one of the first problems. This problem killed some million. Some person are saying 6 million, others are saying 10 million. There is no number because there is a lot of people who were killed in this conflict, and it's not only people from any region, it's all people, including rape of women, and putting many Congolese person in the situation of IDPs in their own country, and also in the situation of refugee in neighborhood country. And this is a very, very difficult problem. So the M23 fighted again. The M23 say that it's coming to ask the government the respect of the agreement of 23 March 29 in Goma. They call it in French Accord de Goma, and they began in 2011, and in 2011 they began, and they took Goma on 2012, and after that the government, after taking Goma, the government, the international community, NGOs, and many people spoke about it. And in that time, MONUSCO, with the fact they say MONUSCO, which is the United Mission, military United Mission here in DRC, participate in a kind of operation, and they fight together, and they won the M23 in
2013, I believe, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes, in 2013, and in that time they were fighting, and some of them went in Rwanda, and others went in Uganda. And we have a new president on 2019. On 2019, in January, we have a new president, the first of the history to have the new president, and that new president choose to discuss some accord, including with Chinese, with Rwanda, and with other country, and he began to rediscuss accord and agreement signed by the former president Joseph Kabila, and in that way, the M23 came from those countries, especially Rwanda and Uganda, where they were staying for around 8 years, without any fight, without any presence in Congolese territory, and they began in that time to take some place, to take villages after villages, villages after villages, and they take first the border of Bunagana.
After that's bordering Uganda, right?
Yes, the border in Bunagana, which is a border between between Congo and Uganda. And after taking that, they have access to a lot of support, including from Rwanda and from Uganda. They went until now, until near Goma, and near Goma, in that place, there is the East African Force, which get a kind of agreement between them that they should leave some areas, and some Kenyan, Ugandan, um, Sudan soldiers came here, and some Burundians came here, and they took place in many positions. But on local area, population say that they are not doing nothing because they didn't fight any, even 1 minute uh, them against M23, and in area under control of the East African Regional Force, the Congolese army were not allowed to have access to that area. But civilian society actors and witnesses say that the M23 were still in those area, and after a kind of after many demonstrations here in Goma, including in Congo, the government in Kinshasa, when it were near the election, choose to put out the East African Regional Force, and right now we have another force which is called SADC, which is South African Development Community, leading by South Africa, Tanzanian, and Malawi soldiers who are here on the ground. Until now, Goma is still we don't know. They can come even today, even tomorrow. But there are some operation leading by the FARDC to protect Goma. But as you know, Goma, it's not only the important city, because we have areas like Bunagana, we have area like Siruchuru, we have areas like Kiwanja, like Kichanga, like Kishishe, where M23 did a kind of massive killing last year. And this is the general situation about the conflict and how it's going on right now.
Thank you, Akilimali. You mentioned a few acronyms there: AFDL, Alliance of Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Congo, Zaire. You mentioned CNDP, National Defense of the Congress, National Defense of Congress of the People, all stretching from 1996 to the present. So what you did was you outlined a genealogy of militia groups that were really set up by the Rwandan government, Ugandan government, Alliance of Democratic Forces for Liberation of Congo Zaire in 1996, right up to 2002, the National Congress for the Defense of the People, the CNDP that you talked about, of which the M23 came out of. So that's really important for people to understand that the M23 is really just the latest expression of Rwanda's and Uganda's war of aggression against the Congolese people. Militia groups that they've stood up for 25 years, especially since the peace treaty in 2002, when they both countries, Rwanda and Uganda, occupied a substantial portion of the Congo. They had to give up that occupation. So with you mentioned Bunagana. Bunagana, one would think that it couldn't be occupied by the M23 without the support of the Ugandans. It's right there on the border, right? Is that the sense among the people? And it's still occupied to this very day. Like there are areas that are still occupied by the M23 that the Congolese government has not been able to take back.
Exactly. But when we are speaking about areas like Bunagana, for example, Bunagana is an area which is Bunagana. It's one of the important border for the DRC, because there are a lot of merchandise who are coming from Uganda and are crossing the Congo border. There are also many natural resources who are crossing there from DRC to go to Uganda, and for Uganda controlling it by their proxy, which is M23, because M23, as I said, M23, they were staying in Rwanda and in Uganda, many of them, including General Makenga, Bertrand Bisimwa, and all these team lead of the M23. So it's Uganda and Rwanda which are supporting them and which are giving them that possibility to fight against DRC and against civilian population. And as you said, controlling area like Bunagana, you have to have a kind of blessing from Uganda because, as you know, Uganda is at that area of the border, and right now, witness and civilian society actors in the area who are still there are saying that every day there are some Ugandan and Rwandan soldiers who are using the Bunagana border to come here in DRC and to fight for the M23. It means that the M23 it's only a way for Uganda and Rwanda. It not says it's the only way, but it's one of the main ways for those countries to take control of some area, like some important area like Rubaya, which is the main area where there are some coltan, and to take others area where there are gold and other important natural resources.
Thank you, Akilimali, for that. Now, you mentioned IDPs, internally displaced people, according to the UN, as a result of the latest offensive and bombing. We've seen up to 150,000 people internally are heading towards Goma. That's what the UN has said. We've seen the Minister of Defense, Jean-Pierre Bemba, arrived in Goma yesterday. He declared this week that unlike 2012, the Congolese government will not allow the city of Goma to be taken. It seems like the M23 has pursued a strategy of basically cutting off Goma with to their surrounding towns, with the aim of ultimately either taking it or keeping Goma under a state of siege. With the arrival of the Minister of Defense yesterday in Goma, what is the sense? Is there a sense that the Congolese military can retake some of those towns surrounding Goma? That the Congolese military can prevent the M23 from lobbing bombs into Goma? I know the Congolese military has bought a number of drones, drones from the Chinese. I think a few of them have been shot down by the M23, and others have taken out some of the M23 leadership. Can you give us a sense of what the military strategy is looking like from on the point of the Congolese government? Even with the introduction, I think there's some, I don't know how many, 2,000, up to 2,000 mercenaries that are there in the area. You mentioned the SADC, the Southern African Development Community, where the South Africans have dispatched troops to fight with the Congolese. We saw on social media this morning the MONUSCO, the UN military peacekeeping force. They sent out a video that they're in battling with the Congolese military against the M23. I think it was at Sake. I'm not sure exactly where. So you have the UN, you have South African forces, you have mercenaries from Eastern Europe and all over. You have the Minister of Defense coming, to the east. But yet bombs are still dropping on civilians in Goma. Give us a sense of, make sense of all this for us, please.
It seems crazy and incredible, but for the statement, what Jean-Pierre Bemba said, which is the Vice Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense, that they will protect. It's not the same time for him to say that. It's not the same time for because in his delegation they have also the chief commander of the Congolese army, General Chiwewe, and they were together when they say that it's not the same time as the first time for them to say that they will protect and they will retake again those areas. And as you said, the problem I think right now is about Kinshasa to try to develop a kind of strategy, because Kinshasa is like under control of some countries and some countries, for example, like US, UK, and France. And those countries are telling to Kinshasa that you have to stay. You have they are telling to the Congolese government that you have to stay. If you did this, we will not give you that and that and that. You have to discuss. You have to develop a kind of solution. And Kinshasa know but by itself that if they begin a kind of dialogue, this country will be in a very, very big problem, because there are not thousand, but there are so many dialogue done by the M23 and with others group, but there is no solution right now. And for civilian society actors and movement of pressure is that they have to fight. Kinshasa has to assume its responsibility by giving weapon and possibility to the Congolese army to fight. The problem is that we have also a MONUSCO, which population were asked to MONUSCO to leave. And you do remember that on 30th of August, there is more than 100 people, civilians, who were killed because they organized a demonstration against MONUSCO, and MONUSCO, which were supposed to go like 2 days before the deadline, they had a kind of 1 year to stay here in DRC. And MONUSCO to say that they create a kind of operation which called Springbok, and that operation it say that they will protect Goma and Sake, and for them it's basta, not others area, not others area. And they took some journalists and they took some pictures when they were in the forest neighborhood of Goma and Sake, and they took some pictures, some videos, and they said that we are doing a kind of operation to protect Goma. And this is also another kind of failure. Another kind of failure is about mercenaries, because mercenaries are helping FARDC. They are not really fighting at the last line of the war.
So they're
Of the
functioning
fighting.
more as advisors and trainers and
Exactly,
fighting.
exactly. And they are most of the time helping by leading some drone, some helicopters, some heavy weapon, which some Congolese soldiers haven't a lot of knowledge to use it. And
That's
when
interesting that
they
you
are
say that,
together,
Akilimali, because I think back in early November, there were reports coming out that the Israeli Defense Forces that were in the Congo with the Congolese military had to be called back to Israel, where, as everyone knows, the genocide is being perpetuated against the Palestinians. So even the Israeli Defense Forces were there as advisors and trainers to the Congolese military at the time. They're almost all of them now have gone back to Israel to fight the war in Israel.
exactly, there were some soldiers. They were some soldiers, because we have three countries here with those mercenaries. We have some who are coming from France, and we have others who are coming from Israel, and others who are coming from Romania. And those three countries. And when that operation exactly begin in Israel, there are soldiers who leave DRC because they are mercenary, and they came back to Israel to fight against Palestine. And this is quite an something which cannot be understanding by the Congolese, because the Congolese are not involved in the conflict in Palestine, but many Congolese are living the same situation like the Congo is living with Rwanda. That what Palestinian people are living with Israel, and there are a kind of solidarity which cannot be more big, and but it's a kind of solidarity. But as you know, the president
solidarity with the Palestinian people
yes,
on the
exactly.
part of
There
the
are
Congolese people.
solidarity
That's interesting that
with
you said that, Akilimali. Yesterday, the Israeli ambassador to the DRC was on the news calling on the Congolese government to negotiate and enter into dialogue with Rwanda. And many Congolese were somewhat taken aback by that statement on the part of the Israeli ambassador, seeing that Israel is not even open to a ceasefire, with Palestine and with folks in Gaza. But yet, the Israeli ambassador is calling on the Congolese government to enter into dialogue with the Rwandan government. So notice that the Congolese population, in general, didn't take those comments too kindly.
exactly for the government and for the Congolese, M23 and his support are a terrorist movement, and from Israel, for example, Hamas is a terrorist movement. But yes, exactly. People say that why can't you discuss with Hamas there in your country and come here in Congo to say that you have to discuss with the M23, and this is unbelievable. And in answer, there is a kind of demonstration today on many foreigner embassy, including the embassy of US and UK, that people are trying to destroy, to tell them to leave the country, because they are still supporting Rwanda and Uganda in this operation of killing, of taking natural resources in Congo by killing civilians, by raping women, and by putting population to be in the situation of IDPs and and refugee. If I
Yeah.
can come back to that statement, you have to know that is what I have said, that the government of Kinshasa is close to those governments like Israel, like
Mm.
US, and
Mm.
they can't say it on the ground, but their action can't be what say action should be what those countries want, because they are telling them that they have powers, they will maintain, even if population is not allowed, can't allow the kind of situation. But the problem for Kinshasa is not that. The problem is that they know that the red line for Congolese people is to understand that they have a kind of new dialogue, a new agreement with M23, and because if you have an agreement with M23, you have an agreement with Rwanda, and you have an agreement with Uganda as well, because it's a proxy. And this is what makes what confused Kinshasa, because they have to respect the kind of international engagement with those countries, and they have also to know that they are not living in US or in Israel, they are living in Congo, and if they take a kind of bad decision, their power can be destroyed very, very, very
You're saying that the
seriously.
Congolese government is balancing between the external pressure coming from countries like Israel, from the United States, and of course the United Kingdom, and they have to balance that with the total dissatisfaction of the Congolese population, who are demonstrating in Kinshasa at the embassies, actually, U.S. embassies and elsewhere. So the Congolese government is really not fully responding to its population. Is that your sense?
Exactly. It's exactly that. The Congolese government is not really answering for the needs of population, not because they don't want, but because they are like under control of a kind a kind of system, a kind of lobby, a kind
Mhm.
of
It's
organization which are putting them.
external pressure.
Exactly, which are saying if you don't do that, you can. And you have to know that the Congolese leaders, politics leaders, it means the Congolese political class, it's more corrupt, it's corrupted, and there are so many people who are corrupted and many people who have no value, and for them the only value is the value of money and power. And when they have some support from a power country like Israel, and even if Israel it's a partner and a friend of country like Rwanda, which is aggressing the Congo, they trying to like to say to that fact by to try to see other facts and to see where they want to see because they want power and money, and they
And
have
access to those
no
resources.
ethic. Exactly.
I had a few questions, Akilimali. One question I was wondering if the same forces that are supporting the M23 are backing the Allied Democratic forces, the so-called I don't know, terrorist group from Uganda, a so-called Islamic terrorist group from Uganda. Is there any sense that I've seen a number of reports from Human Rights Watch, United Nations group of experts that they say they don't even know who the ADF is there a sense among the population, the ADF that is, since 2014 has just been terrorizing the people of Beni, with decapitations and with just the most horrific forms of killing that we see in the east of Congo? Is there a sense that any of the states, Uganda or Rwanda, may be behind the ADF?
In area of Africa, a rebellion like ADF, which is a terrorist group, it's an Islamic group, can't survive without a support from a neighborhood country. And if they choose to be in area near of Uganda, it's a decision. You have to know this is a fact. The ADF is a movement of soldiers who were against President Museveni of Uganda, and they came in Congo. We have more than 30 years right now, and in that conflict, when the conflict ended up, the Uganda discussed with the ADF, and many of them returned in Uganda, and there are some of them who came back after returning, and others who stayed
Mm.
in Congo, and they were quiet. They were quiet. It were a Christian movement for the beginning, But in the area of Beni, in that period, the area of Beni, we have many area where you have gold.
Mm.
You have area when you have gold, and you have also cacao. I don't know if I'm telling the right word in English.
Cocoa. Okay,
Cocoa.
cocoa.
You have cocoa, which began to be recolted from chance on 2012. And
Mm.
if you can begin a movement which died, many of them were not even cannot be understanding, they were doing, some of them who stayed in Congo were doing a kind of wood traffic with Uganda only, but uh, without doing a kind of violence to local population, to local population, and they were very far in the forest in the Virunga Park. But one day they began and they say, we are not Christian anymore. Right now we are an Islamic group, and we have an alliance with the Islamic State. And right now with Islamic State, and after they said Al Qaeda, and after they said Al Shabaab, and right now we have to transform the country. You have to know that the Congo is a Christian country. Many of the population are Christian, and we have to transform the country. And they began to kill so many people. Even if we can't have an evidence that Rwanda and Uganda are supporting them directly, but in local population, in local mind, like people of Beni, people of Lubero, and people of Mombasa are saying that Rwanda and Uganda are helping them. First of all, this is like a popular view of the ADF. And the second view is that uh, there is no any report which confirm that there is a kind of help which come from Syria and from Somalia, for example, to DRC. It means that they have weapons, they have support, and that support can come first of all from those neighborhood country. And you have to know that. Uh,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
you have to know that there are some statements which say that when the President Tshisekedi of DRC discussed with Paul Kagame of Rwanda last time, he said that they will organize a kind of operation together also against ADF in that time when they were in good relationship officially. And right now, there is a kind of operation which called Shuja, which is organized by the Congolese army with the Ugandan force, UPDF. And that operation didn't stop the killing of people. Until now, they have more than 1 year, but they didn't succeed to stop the killing of people. And many Congolese in that area are saying that Ugandan soldiers in Congo are coming to doing some trade of things and natural resources, and not really help Congolese people to this issue. You have to know that the ADF is an unknowing movement. It's an unknowing movement. We don't know their chief right now. Their chief because Bakulu were arrested, and now he's in prison. We don't know their chief. We don't know the area as they are still controlling. We don't know what is really going on in that forest of Rwenzori, where they are most of them are living, and you have to know that most of them are killing in that area, which is neighbor of Uganda, but there is less killing of civilian people, if it's not no killing of civilian people in Uganda, but most of all are in Congo, and the forest is a border. It means that they have the possibility to cross the forest and to arrive until Uganda, but they didn't attack. There are some attacks for sure, but if you can say attack in DRC and attack in Uganda by ADF, you know that around 97 of attack are doing in Congo, and probably 1 or probably 2% of attack are in Uganda.
That's a few important points that you made there, Akilimali, and bizarre point, because here it is on the one hand, you have ADF, so-called anti-Ugandan group, but they're killing Congolese. They're not killing anti-Ugandan. They're killing Congolese. They're not killing Ugandans, right? Just wantonly killing Congolese. And then you have the FDLR is an anti-Rwanda group, presumably to attack Rwanda, but they're also killing Congolese. And both Rwanda and Uganda, their militaries have been permitted, right, to go into the Congo to go after these groups that they say are against their government. But when Rwanda was permitted to go send its military had an agreement to send its military into the Congo to go after the FDLR, nothing. They weren't able to destroy the FDLR. Uganda, the same for the ADF. So what seems to be the dominant theme, from 1996 to the present, is that both of these countries have vested interest in having a destabilized Congo. Both of these countries, if you look at their exports books in terms of coltan, in terms of gold, in terms of timber, in terms of tin, have shot up. Rwanda has been, the number 1 producer of coltan in the world, for example. So it seems like these countries, have a vested interest in maintaining that instability. Speaking of the instability, just give us a sense again what hope the people have in Goma and the surrounding regions. We see another 150,000 people internally displaced, according to the United Nations. We see the escalation of the bombing. For the people of Goma and the surrounding region, we see people are saying they just want to go back home and live in peace. Where is that path? Can the people see a path towards peace? What role do the major players have to play in delivering that? Major players meaning the Congolese government, the regional forces, governments like the United States and the United Kingdom, who continue to basically give Kagame and Museveni a carte blanche in the region. Where is the hope? Where is the path forward for some kind of peace, stability, as we get more attention being focused on the Congo and the crisis in the Congo? Where do the people in Goma see the possibility for change? Did you freeze, Akilimali? Looks like you're frozen. Okay, looks like you're frozen. Let's see if we can get you back on. You're frozen in the screen right now. I don't know if you're able to still hear us. So that's really were you able to hear the question? Were you able to hear the question? Okay, we'll see if we can get you back on in sync. We've had you on for about 50 minutes. It's a blessing. There's assembly. Okay, it's a blessing to have you connected for this long. Actually, with Emily's comment, we're surprised that usually when we deal with Rwanda and Rwanda's role in destabilizing the Congo, the Rwandan trolls usually come out and try to disrupt the conversation. And apparently we're being quite effective, seeing that that post that was just made in the chat by Emily is the best that they can do at this juncture. So we'll try and get Akilimali back on. In the meantime, just wanted to thank him for the update that he's provided from the ground, from the front line. Akilimali and a number of other journalists have been working assiduously to get us updates, to provide an unfiltered version. Congo is a French-speaking country. To get English news coming out of the Congo, it's not easy at all. And here at Friends of the Congo, we'd like to provide you with direct access to folks on the ground, the people in our network and people throughout the globe has stepped up to support the work. And part of the support that you provided in your donations is to support the work of journalists like Akilimali, who's going to go out in the field. They're right there in Goma, in North Kivu, at the epicenter of the conflict. They're going out in the field, interviewing people, taking pictures, producing articles. So Akilimali he's on Twitter. You can follow him on Twitter. I don't know if the folks in the group can put it in his Twitter handle in the chat. We'll try and get that to you. Yeah, he provides reports that we publish on the Friends of the Congo website at friendsofthecongo.org on our blog. So we just want to let you know that what you're seeing today and the reports you're getting from Akilimali is a direct result of the support that you've been providing to Friends of the Congo with your donations, your contributions. We encourage you to continue to do that. Go to freecongo.org, and support those on the front lines, journalists like Akilimali, leaders in the rainforest, like we saw with Goma, where they're delivering medicine and food and materials to people who have been displaced. Organizations like Comité Afro-European at the front lines in the mining areas that not only rescuing children from the mines, but organizing women, artisanal women miners, providing avenues out of the mining sector into the agricultural sector. We're going to be, within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be providing you with a live update from the mining area in Kolwezi of artisanal miners and workers in the industrial mining sector. Just last week, the security forces at the Tenki-Fungurume, one of the major copper mines, fired upon, killed, and injured diggers. As the diggers were protesting and demonstrating, the security forces, the Presidential Guard, was brought in to shoot live bullets at the diggers. So we're going to have some representatives from the diggers cooperative come on to share with you what's happening with the artisanal miners in Kolwezi and the industrial mining sites, and the organizing that they're doing, and the workers that are on site. It's we often see news about workers at the top of the supply chain, and what this electric, this EV vehicle transition, the transition from combustion engine to electric vehicles, the impact is happening at workers at the top of the supply chain. Well, what about the bottom of the supply chain? The workers in industrial mines in the Congo, the artisanal miners that are in the cobalt and copper and nickel mines, the women who are in the mines, the children who are in the mines. So we're going to be speaking directly to some of the folks who are on the front line, those who were victims of the latest attack and shootings by the Presidential Guard. So please, thank you again for joining us and supporting our work. The solution, ultimate solution, is going to come, as you can hear from Akilimali, from the Congolese people. The extent to which we can be in solidarity with them, strengthen the organizing efforts that they're undertaking on the ground, strengthen their institutions by not only providing donations as y'all have been doing, but skills transfers, materials that they need, organizing tools, all of that. Some of you have even decided to go to the Congo to see what's happening on the ground and to see what kind of support you can provide. But we need to support the people on the front line, like Akilimali, who's providing us with invaluable information and updates, unfiltered, primarily because of your support, directly from the ground from the Congo. So again, freecongo.org, join this global movement, get involved, take action. We have a petition on the site that we're calling on the members of U.S. Congress not to allow our tax dollars, the taxpayers of the United States, for their dollars to go and fuel conflict in the Congo. There's a law on the books, Public Law 109456, the Democratic Republic of Congo Relief, Security, and Democracy Promotion Act, the law that was crafted by Senator Obama, that got a bill that was crafted by Senator Obama that got turned into law. There's a section in there that says that the Secretary of State is authorized, Section 105 is authorized to withhold aid from any countries that are destabilizing the Congo. So let's put pressure on the Biden administration, put pressure on our members of Congress for them to uphold the tenets of that law cease their support, their military support of the Rwandan government that's destabilizing the east of the Congo through proxy militia groups. So again, sign the petition, join the movement, get involved, take action, freecongo.org. Thank you very much.